كيف الحال؟
السلام ورحمة الله. الله يحفظك ويبارك فيك. إذا نبدأ دكتور؟
تفضل.
أحب أن أقدم شكرا. Good evening everybody from the beautiful islands of Bahrain. I am Khawla Al-Muhannadi. I am the president of the Environment Friends Society, EFS Bahrain, who is hosting this event. And I am the NGO major group facilitator. I'm running for election, so my term will end on March, so I'm still the facilitator and hopefully for another term as well. I'm an environmentalist and I'm a NGO activist for the last 20 years. Welcome to the 4th session of our NGO discussion series. We started the dialogue in December and we decided afterward that we want to keep it going so that we can learn how to develop our abilities as independent NGOs working in different places for different purposes all over the world to make this world a better place, but also to develop our ability in finding ways to strengthen our unity as a group. At least the groups that we know about, like the NGO major group under UNEP, like IPEN, like the regional groups, and hopefully we can all unite together to just make Earth a better place for all. EFS Bahrain welcome you all to the Inspiration, Economy, and NGOs session. We have the pleasure and the honor to host Dr. Mohamed Buheji from Bahrain as the speaker and the main leader of this discussion. Dr. Mohamed Buheji is the founder of the International Institute of Inspirational Economy and the founder of Youth Economy Forums. He is considered a leading expert in the areas of excellence, knowledge, innovation, inspiration, change management, and enhancement of competitiveness for over 25 years. Besides being a retired professor from University of Bahrain and a future foresighter, Dr. Buheji is also the founder of the International Journal of Inspiration and Resilience Economy and International Journal of Youth Economy. He leads seminars on the subject of inspiration engineering, resilience engineering, and youth and inspiration labs. Last but not least, Dr. Buheji has published since the year 2008 more than 70 peer-reviewed journal and conference papers and 21 books in subjects of socioeconomic problem solving, power of thinking, lifelong learning, quality of life, inspiration, and competitiveness. The list is long to introduce Dr. Buheji, but I just would like to end my introduction by saying I have the honor and the pleasure of knowing Dr. Mohamed Buheji and working with him. And he is as real as every word that I said. And he is there to support, to inspire, and to teach NGOs, individuals, society in different places all over the world. I would say that his projects are more in Africa and in Asia and other places than they are in Bahrain, his country. So with these words, I'd like to welcome you, Dr. Buheji. The floor is yours.
Can you unmute me, please? Yeah, okay. And can you give me a share, please, for the screen? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I am very happy again, Dr. Khawla, to be really your guest for this inspiring group and practitioners because as I know that especially environmental and sustainability conscious people, they are more of practical people. They don't like theories. And I think knowing you also, Dr. Khawla, trying to do a change in this our small island in Bahrain itself is an honor for all of us. I think يعني today the best thing is to call this let's say dialogue based. The idea is that what I agree with Dr. Khawla is that I will go for about 25 minutes to introduce to you what is inspiration economy and why it's important for people like you, practitioners who are trying to do a change in the world to reduce pollution, to reduce poverty, to enhance sustainability or continuity, and so on. So I called it wisdom of giving, because all of us, I think, we meet in one point. We are trying to create a story in our life. Life is about series of stories, and each one of us trying to make a story. And I believe that the best vehicle for us in creating a story is the NGOs. Now, since before actually even 10 years, lots of people, they started to talk about whether the NGOs is really doing their role in a proper way. But inspiration economy, you'll see that we are trying to reimagine totally whether NGOs can deliver the goals that the world wants. And I'm talking really about even small NGOs, not large international organizations and so on. So I will just in a summary, will introduce to you who we are. We are a quality of life focused organization where we try to inspire or to bring the inspiration and the intrinsic powers within the community. We try to improve the resilience and the inspiration currency and the intrinsic powers again inside the organization, inside the humans and the society. And we create also different paths and mindsets and labs and research projects which try to exploit these intrinsic powers within these communities, besides trying to do a radical and gradual change with minimal extrinsic resources. We have different organizations or let's say projects which like youth economy, resilience economy, self-sufficiency, and societies. One of them is Bahrain Society, for example, in Bahrain. And we use a lot of, again, legacy-based conferences or forums every 6 months. One of the challenges of any organization really is to understand what is its goal about. And our goal since the beginning, since 2015, was to totally differentiate ourselves from the capital-based economy approaches, which is the classical economy that is usually focused on the market economy, or even now the hybrid economy, or even differentiate ourselves from the social economy that is we know about, the social economy that gives social welfare services based on taxes and trying to take the money from the wealthy and give it to the poor and so on. And we also try to differentiate ourselves from the knowledge and innovation economy, which has been there for in the last 50 years. And we've seen with the development of the fMRI, the functional magnetic resonance imaging and so on, we started to know more about neuroscience and in general, and we started to talk more about behavioral economics and so on, which is they focus more in architecting the behavior of the people. We believe that we are very near to this concept of behavioral economy, and I have written lots of papers what's the difference between us and this economy specifically, because we use both the behavioral economy approaches, the collaborating and sharing economy approaches, which been there in the last 30 years, in order to explore the intrinsic powers of the humans. And I believe that the behavioral economy is in a step maybe lower a bit than what we are talking about, because our intrinsic powers start with our mindset. whether this mindset is an individual, or this mindset is an organization, or this mindset is a community. Every one of these three entities, whether the individual, the organization, or the community, they have what we call it intrinsic powers. And these intrinsic powers are blocked most of the time by our mindset. The mindset is made, ladies and gentlemen, from four things. Maybe you want to write them down if you, maybe first time you hear this, because it's not written properly in literature, but I claim that I have written a lot about it, by the way. It's made from four things. It's made from our assumptions, our attitudes, our behaviors, and our reflections, or how we react. The more we shake up our assumptions about anything, we shake up our assumptions as individuals, or as an organization, or as a community, the more we can see the opportunities within this community, the more we can see the intrinsic powers within this community. So in summary, I can say that inspiration economy is a unique way, a unique type of economy that is trying to empower people by learning, by doing, by through problem solving, trying to find the hidden and unutilized opportunities within that community, and explore and exploit these opportunities, and thus raise what we call a formula called capacity versus demand. So as we all know, that the capital-based economy and all the other economies I mentioned earlier about, they focus on a formula known in capital-based economy, which is supply versus demand. This economy is bringing a new type of main formula. The main formula here, no, we want to raise the capacity within the community, within the individual, within the organization, by discovering the other intrinsic powers not being utilized versus the demand that is needed here. Whether this demand is a disease like a COVID, it's affecting our life or livelihood, or this demand is an issue, socio-economic issue like poverty, migration, youth, or maybe it's an environmental issue, the demand for pollution and so on. And this is what inspiration economy is about. It's more focused on a socio-economic problem based. Even the pollution, we consider it socio-economic problem. Because as I mentioned maybe in one of earlier talk with Dr. Khawla, is that even the poor, they don't want to pollute the environment but they don't have the proper means, so they are polluting the environment. And for that, it is a socio-economic issue if we see it from different perspectives. How we minimize this, and for that we see that in poor communities, in poverty, diseased area, we can see that there is lots of mishandling of the waste, because they didn't have the proper means or appreciation of this type of asset. The waste itself is an asset that we can use and we can recycle and we can bring lots of things. So it is about using this problem, any problem that we face, whether it's a pollution problem, whether it's, as I said, poverty problem, migration problem, and collecting lots of observations about it. And instead of seeing in these observations the problem inside, the solution inside the problem, we're seeing the opportunities inside the problem. What is this problem can bring us from opportunities that we didn't see before? So it is like shaking our mindset. Oh, I didn't see this type of perspective. I should see it from different point of view. So the problem itself is a chance for mindset to change and bring a better outcome for the world and bring a better solution. We can give lots of scenarios, but maybe the best scenario is about poverty. I will use it today because it's linked to lots of things. Poverty is an outcome of lots of, let's say, inputs from whether from humans or from, again, the ability of the community to shake up its mindset and its assumptions. So we have a scenario of poverty where it is creating lots of stories. These stories need to be collected properly by an NGO, by a collection of people, by a group. These observations need to be defragmented. They need to be codified, classified, and stratified, so that we bring from them opportunities. These opportunities will bring for us alternative solutions. And we believe in inspiration economy that these scenarios cannot come from people sitting in the offices. It needs to be always in the field. So we believe that it is a multidisciplinary approach that need to have a lot of field visits. It need to be exploring by doing. So you don't know the right solution 100% from the beginning. You use disruptive techniques, disruptive approach to solve the problem. So this will enhance your capacity to bring what we call inspiration economy. Your ambiguity in the beginning, accepting to live with ambiguity, to solve a problem wherever you are, okay, even if you don't know this culture, you understand the socio-economic issue, you put it in a multidisciplinary perspective, you start to see the type of curiosity that is raising in your mindset, okay, then you'll start to see the intrinsic assets within this community, and you'll start to help this community to raise its capacity to different solution and bring a better foresighted future. And this is what will bring for you what we call inspiration currency. All these dots that you're seeing are actually like a milestones for exploiting our opportunities that is hidden within us, or maybe sometimes not utilized, or again, maybe sitting idle somewhere in our community or in our life. So in order to create any NGO, in order to create a success story, we believe in the future, most of NGOs, they need to get involved with socio-economic issue from a problem-solving point of view, instead of service delivery point of view. The more we get involved with the socio-economic problem solving, the more we'll start to dig further for the intrinsic power within the community. The more we'll start to do research and development, and this is what we miss in most of the NGOs. You don't have the proper research and development there, and based on that, we can collaborate better with the right partners, and we can bring better programs, projects that will help us to enhance again our inspiration currency. And this will lead to us, help us more to discover better, more and more and more hidden opportunities. That is really, they are so much abundance in our world that really we need just to put the mindset, proper mindset to work on it. And this will bring for us, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, what we call about passion. Passion is a word that's made from persistence and perseverance. The more we dig for live models, the more we try to create live models, even if it is a failure story. Doesn't have to be your life model, doesn't have to be a success story. And once it is a life model, you should report about it, you should publish about it, so that in order for others to continue, because this is where we are supposed to be selfless, okay? Which means that we should really share our what we try to do. Maybe others can help us or help the world to continue after we leave this world, or even help us while we are there to solve the problem in different way. For that, today we are focusing on actually a master program. I'm corresponding with friends like my brother Nikolai from Russia. He's from Moscow. For example, we are trying to do a master all over the world, a global master program in inspiration economy, because we believe now, after we develop the concept and the content for the stories around the inspiration economy. And I'm giving this example not to talk about inspiration economy, but to tell that this is what's supposed to be any NGO that's trying to create a change, or this is what my belief. Maybe you can debate with me in that area, because based on that, we can create what we call reference case studies. We can publish case studies, and we can make people believe that what is books we have written and on these case studies can be really generated or generalized, or can be copied in other communities, or can be improved in other communities. And this was our journey in the last 5 years. And this is what we are targeting now. Now we are targeting to work more in social for-profit companies with youth or with women, to empower women, to empower communities, so that they can bring products very strong, that is competitive in the market, and we play like mediators to help them to spread their products. The idea of looking for a hidden intrinsic opportunity within us itself is the idea of what we call, again, inspiration currency, because inspiration currency will come only when we try to make a difference between what is the expected result. Okay, if we plan something and we work on it and we get whatever we are expecting, is different than when we get better than what we expect. And this is where the impact will be a different. And this is whereas again, we are trying to differentiate any community, because now what we are seeing now, even though I have written this slide actually about 5 years ago, now we can see even the name of the countries that is shaking up. I used to say, for example, USA is a success-driven society. I'm not sure today, is it? Okay. Or for example, China is a stable society. Is it? But what we for sure that we didn't see a lot of societies that is sustainable, resilient society, or they are inspiring society, in the meaning of inspiring, that they are always changing their mindset, improving and delivering better results and better outcomes with minimal resources and minimal pollution, and using less extrinsic powers. I mean, less based on not being dependent on the financial inputs and so on. So I believe that we are today really being polarized by a type of people that is pushing us to be more stable society, success-driven society, deteriorating society, than to be emerging, vibrant society, or sustainable, resilient society, or inspiring society. The role of the NGO leaders, and this is what we write in Future Foresight in one of our books coming soon, is about, it's not about really looking for prosperity in the meaning of scarcity mindset. It means that I'm competing with other NGOs, I'm competing to get the fund from the government. And this is what I've seen, for example, in Europe. We opened Inspiration Economy Institute first in Slovenia. But we found out that it's all about competition, competing sometimes even if we write false things to get the fund from EU. And this is not right. This is not the purpose of an NGO. The purpose of an NGO, not even to bring services or using resources, depending more on the extrinsic resources from the governments and so on. The purpose of NGOs really is to discover the intrinsic powers within the community, to help the community to see the opportunities within them and bring solutions, and to bring a different mindset, to see that this community has so much abundance, so much possibilities that they can do without depending on others. And this is what means, again, the currency of inspiration. If you go to any community today, you'll see that, as I said, they request and deploy a materialistic, the NGOs, they will work with NGOs who will request and deploy materialistic resources to adapt to complex situations. I'm talking about now communities that is not dependent on government, because lots of communities, like in the Gulf countries, they're dependent on government. So the NGOs are very weak compared to the government. When I'm talking the right role, supposed to be, should have the NGOs is the top of the three sectors, and then we have the private sector, and then we have the government. Now in different countries, we see that government is the top, and then the private sector, and then the NGOs, which is again for that we are not saying the world is developing in a proper way. In order to enhance the capacity and face the challenges, these NGOs are supposed, as I said again, to explore the available resources, the potential wealth within the community, or again to exploit the problem itself. And this can come with an associative mindset, as I mentioned about the mindset, where we focus on the human capital first. What are the human capitals within this community? If it is a poor community, what the skills they have? Okay, do they have agricultural skills? They have industrial skills? What type of skills they have? Sometimes they have collaborative skills. Even collaborative skills can be used, by the way. They have social capital. They are very related to each other. They work like a team with each other. Or they have a natural capital. They are in the front of a river. They are in a green area. They are in desert area, but this desert area have certain functionality, certain different things, different inputs. We can dig for wells for them, and they can grow a certain type of products that is not available in other countries. They have physical capital. And last thing will be, we'll look for the financial capital to support this. So if we move these four capitals, the human capital, the natural capital, the social capital, and physical capital, for sure, the financial capital will be in less demand. because we have exploited all the opportunities within these 4 capitals instead of depending on the financial capital, while these 4 capitals will be weak. And this is what's happening today in the world. So I'm talking about really the deeper we think about socio-economic problem solving and set a goal to build a relationship between capacity development and the problem solving, the more we'll find better opportunities, the more we'll bring better innovation, and we'll have innovative behavior, the more we'll have a better curiosity and reward, the more we'll improve our performance in general when we deliver any project to help any community or solve a crisis or and so on. Then the more we can have a reflection and we'll learn from our approaches. And this is again based on utilizing the 4 assets that I talked about earlier. So any NGO supposed to practice this type of thinking that I'm talking about, okay, which is again to make them more competent. And this type of thinking can be based on these 4 steps. The NGO need to learn how to observe. The NGO need to learn how to explore for a deep problem opportunity. Need to know how to prioritize the hidden opportunities, which one to use first. They should have, they should shake up their mindset. So so we should always see things from many different multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary perspectives, and then they start to practice by learning by doing, or learning by exploring, or learning by failing even, till they bring the better solution for the community. The more we understand our mindsets and we have opportunity recognition, we can build what we call capacity versus demand. The more we, once we start to build the capacity within the community, the more we can bring better approaches to the community, and we can bring better solutions for any conflict mitigation, or even reframing the problem in a proper way. I'm giving you now the concept so that we talk now. We'll give you an example, then I'll conclude and wait for your actually reaction or any questions. So this will build for us what we call abundance thinking. Because abundance thinking, by the way, it is very difficult for humans. We are made to be selfish. We need to practice to be selfless. And this doesn't come by talking about it. It doesn't come by workshops, doesn't come by courses. It comes only by doing, learning by doing, learning by, again, failing, exploring. And this will create for us this abundance and let us see different things in different ways. So again, I'm repeating this issue that we are looking for, supposed to use the social science of the socio-economy, where we should look for the problems within the community. The NGO is supposed to try to enhance the maximum fulfillment of its goals by bringing, again, producing better means for a solution for any problem. And this is what I call it the B's, okay, the 3 B's. The first B is about how the NGO is going to solve the problem. The second B is about the means for solving the problem. And the first B is about the socio-economic problem itself and defining it in a proper way. Let's take the case of Marhamat. Marhamat is an NGO, a humanitarian NGO that was established during the war of 1991-1992 in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then established in all Balkan areas. They have more than 100 of chapters around. We take in only one chapter, which was in Bihać, in the northern of Bosnia, and we started to pilot with them a total different approach than their concept. The concept of Marhamat, this is the story of Marhamat now. The concept of Marhamat is that they are providing people with food, and they give them also clothes, seasonal clothes. They try to support them in time of crisis and so on. They are about 600 families. They used to be 300 families, and they grown over time to be 600 families. The problem is increasing because many people are in the waiting line, okay? And the worst thing is that most of these people, they don't go out of, the list of the people that is getting the help. Most of them, they stay because they say, we need the help. And we don't have, even though there is some studies, of course, on their status, but they seem that they've proven that they need the help. But when you go and see the demographics of these people, you see 40% of these people, they are functional people. They are between 16 and 39 years old. Okay, and they were never been, let's say, challenged or put in a program to be more independent. Okay, so Mohamed continued to give lots of the 600 families, family members, all the support, but with time, they found themselves that they are having a long waiting list, and lots of people is asking for the same support over time and so on. What Mohamed has done, actually, they have increased the poverty in the community. They have actually emphasized the poverty in the community, reduced the capacity for people to come out of poverty, and reduce the capacity for people to stay out of poverty. This case of Marhamat, I'm giving it to you. This is the mindset of most of the humanitarian organization around the world. Okay, even if they give them some, let's say, a machine or something, but over time they will not supervise how the productivity is done in a proper way. I think our friend Mohamed Khurshid, he's from Nepal. I think he's attending with us, and he knows now how much I'm working with him. And I don't care about that. I'm giving him tailoring machines. What we are asking him, what are the productivity you are going to do, and what is the profit margin you are going to do in your community? Okay, this is what is we are looking for any NGO when they work with any partner in any country where they have a poor community. So what we did with Marhamat, we collected a series of observation about the people, their lifestyle, who they are they functional? Can they make tea? Can they walk to the car? Can they go to again to for fishing? All these data we collected about it, and then we analyzed the data. We've seen there is lots of opportunities within this this community, and we started to define proper goals, where we started again to shift now the model. The purpose of Marhamat is not to support people. This is the redefining now the problem. The purpose of Marhamat is to bring people out of poverty. This is a total change of mindset of the community of the NGO. So they start now to realize that they are supposed to eliminate the poverty using the demographics, like I'm putting for you here in this drawing, the demographics of the stakeholders, and realize that their role as a humanitarian NGO is really, at the end of the day, how many people they have make them get out of poverty. So the model has changed now. Because of I'm looking for the inspiration currency inside the model, okay, I started to see now, how can I get these people out of poverty? So we started to build network of for these youth with the Chamber of Commerce, with the universities, with other NGOs that can support these people and give them the skill. And we started to put some seed funds in this with these community. We started to codify these people, green, red, and yellow. So red means they already supposed to be out now. Yellow means they are preparing them to get them out from the charity based, and they should be dependent on themselves. And the green, they will stay in this program for some time. The change of this type of thinking made Marhamat even start to think that they have to be a profit-oriented organization, not an NGO that waiting for charity from others to support them. And for that, we start to invest with them about the machine for bakery, for example, because Marhamat never thought that they are supposed to get a machine for bakery, even though 50% of the food in Bosnia depend on the on bread and so on. So this is an example of how we look at things in different way. Seeing the social problem will help us to see the economic problem in a proper way. Actually, we'll eliminate the economic problem to make it more focused. So, and then we'll use the educational, the technological, and the ethical, and so on, to the other tools to help us to improve the quality of life and to bring better involvement or engagement from other parties to solve this problem. So inspiration economy use forward-looking thinking, visualize what is the community can be, determine the symptom of the problem, explore the problem and the opportunities within it, propose the storyline, and then finish the socio-economic outcome by working and ensuring that the sustainability within this problem is eliminated. So for that now, we are not talking about, for example, alleviation of poverty. we're really talking about the SDG 1, which is about elimination of poverty, and making by small models. We can spread these models around the world, and this is what we are calling, even for the United Nations and those who's working with poverty. Instead of using top-down approach, they should now 50% of their approach supposed to be bottom-up approach in order to eliminate what happened during the COVID and till today, where we are having lots of people suffering from more poverty and more pollution and more actually people unemployed and so on. So the better we build a proper diagnosis journey with this mindset, we can bring better solutions and we can manage the problem in a proper way. It is a way of thinking, ladies and gentlemen, where the social psychology will play a place, the exploration question will play a place, and the differentiating our diagnosis will play a place and will make us actually observe the world in different way, with a better genuine curiosity, with a better actually human behavior design, and with a better storyboard where we can create better stories through using the power of the NGO, because the best people who are very relevant to the community and they can observe better is the NGO. The NGO, if they get involved today, I'm sure our observation will be better, our absorption of the problem will be better, our reflection will be better, and we start to change the mindset of our communities in a proper way, and will make better engagement even with those who want to get engaged with such socio-economic problems that we face every day. So it is a call at the end of the day, it's a call for all of us not to work anymore in known and clear problem. If you are working in a known and clear problem since, for example, the last 5 years, it is time to give it to someone else. Okay, someone weaker than you, or NGO weaker than you. Okay, or give it to the government, or give it to a large organization or a private sector. We are with NGOs supposed to be working and exploring unknown, unclear areas. Okay, the more we work in these areas, the more we can raise the socio-economic value, and the more we can realize and unlearn what we thought we know. So we can learn new things, because unless you unlearn, you're not going to learn any new things. And this is what I'm calling about in inspiration economy. We have lots of books about this issue. We have written all our books, have case studies about what we've been doing around the world. And I hope this will open for you some type of dialogue and questions or critique. I welcome any feedback from you, and thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mohamed. You cannot stop inspiring us. The more I listen to you, the more I feel that I need to know more and listen to more. And this session is recorded. We're going to have it available for everyone, because I know, just like myself, I'm sure everyone have heard Dr. Mohamed and was like, what were the 4 things that he said? Like, I can remember the second or the third, but not the 4 of them. And you kept moving from one topic to the other, because it's your world, it is your doing, it's your invention actually. But for all of us, it's quite new, but it's so inspirational. I would like to open the discussion with the question, Pedro, if you are ready, we'll put a poll. You need to say yes or no. There is a question. At the same time, I'd like everybody to type in the chat their country dash their name, just like I did. So Pedro, if you're ready, please, can we see the question?
Here, we already had 28 answers in the poll. The poll, to have access to the poll, you should go in the below bar at the screen that you find mute, start video, security participants, and polls. When you click that, you also find now the answers, and we have 19 voters already. Please have a look.
We need everybody to vote. So if you did not vote, please do so. We cannot, as host, we cannot vote, but you can, everyone else can. We'll be interested to know the answer and share it with you. So Pedro, how many people voted?
Yet 30. A person asked how. I will say again, in the below bar at the screen, at the place that you find mute, start video, security, participants, there at the side you find posts, at the side also of chat icon. And when you click on that, you already see the question and the answers of the team there, of the, not the team, the participants, sorry.
So did 30 people vote already?
Yes.
Right, so can you share the answer in the chat and say it maybe?
Now 30 persons voted.
What did they vote for? How many voted for yes and how many voted for no?
By the moment we have 17 yes and 13 no, 18 yes, 13 no. Who else haven't voted yet?
Right, so Pedro, can you read the question?
Do you have a real life example for applying inspiration economy principle at your NGO? The answers by the moment were 18 yes and 13 no, but we see a lot of
that's good indication. Okay, thank you, Pedro. Thank you very much. That's a good indication. So more than 50% of people who are present here, they think that they have an example from the real life of applying inspiration economy. Yeah, 58%. Okay, that's good. Please keep writing your country and your name in the chat. Pedro, can you show us a map? We just want to see the distribution of all over the continent of our participants. You can show it at any time. With that, I'd like to open the stage for questions and for comments. When you start talking, please say who you are, from which country, if you're from an NGO, say the name of your NGO, and just like half a sentence about what your NGO is doing. Like you can say it's environmental, it's about poverty, just short, don't give much details, and then ask a question or share your story. Dr. Mohamed was encouraging us to not only share our story, but to document it, even if it was not a successful story, because people can learn from it. And the way he said it, that if we have a life model, then it does not have to be successful to be useful. It needs to be published so other people can learn from it and can maybe start from where we ended. So with that, I see one hand, Sheikh Mohammed.
Just a comment to say is that to ask it to have 3 minutes interventions, I will be writing in the chat when you have 30 seconds left to not have longer, to also allow people, more persons to participate. So let's hear from Sheikh.
Right, so how many minutes we have, Pedro?
3 minutes per person. I feel that is enough time to say a lot.
That's maximum, yes. Thank you. Yes, Sheikh, you can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. I would just like to know, because most of us NGOs here in Kenya, whenever we apply for a fund, we are told it should be something that should generate income. But whenever we apply with an income generating fund, I found out that most of the donors do not like that. They always want people who will always be at their feet and begging for more. So I'm very much impressed that we have got a donor who wants someone who can get empowered and get out of poverty. I would really very much like to get in touch with them, inshallah, through the Council of Imams, because we want to empower the Imams and we want to bring in projects that will make sure that we get out of poverty instead of all the time relying on donors. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, yes, Ahmed. I'm encouraging others to give a comment or give a question in anything related to what our speaker have inspired us about. But in particular, if you have a life example, a life model of how inspiration economy have worked in your life, the concept is new, but it does not mean that it was not there before. It's just sort of a rediscovery of what has been there for successful projects. So, Dr. Mohammed, you might respond to Sheikh Mohammed while we wait for other questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikh Mohammed, for your comment. I visited actually Kenya, and one of the really inspiring countries, especially Mombasa. I was in Nairobi and Mombasa, but I didn't visit it after Inspiration Economy. I believe that there is lots of opportunities, especially when we go to the south, that we can do lots of work, as you said, with the different communities, Muslim and non-Muslim communities, where we can support them to see what are the lots of abundant opportunities that is they have within their community. Yani I don't believe, for example, that community like they have Hilda, we call it in Arabic Hil, Dr. Khawla. They have Hilda and the roads it comes, okay? Still they don't appreciate this type of of a product, while this is like a gold for the Arab world, okay? So this is an example. Yeah, this is an example of abundant resources that's available there. And I believe, again, Sheikh Mohammed, but specifically, and I think Godefred is there. He will, I would like him to comment. He's a Christian, but he's seen with me, and I've seen this also throughout the world. Wherever I go, I've seen always the Muslims, they are the poor community, not because nobody want to help them. Actually, maybe they have more charity than other communities, but because the type of charity they've been gone through, and because of they are not appreciating the resources around them, and because of, again, level of education, you can see always the Muslims, they are the ones who need to be pulled in emerging economy countries, whether it's in Kenya or whether it's in Ghana. Whatever we sometimes say about conspiracy theories, whatever, I don't believe that this is always the whole story. The real story is that the Muslim community is not understanding how much power they have within themselves. I was talking about, even forget about the natural resources or the physical resources or the human capital resources. Just if the Muslims really practice the social asset itself, they will bring lots of resources to their community. If we see, for example, an eco-village in Sudan or in Ghana, and we see, and you remember, Godefred, I'm sure you'll talk about this later, where we're going to see Muslim community, where I was telling them, only want to establish with you an eco-tourism through your collaboration, your way of life, as simple as that. We don't want any extra thing, okay? That itself, and this I repeated this and I did this, by the way, project in Amazigh in Morocco. So I believe that there is lots of abundance abundant opportunity within our communities, but we need to look at it from different point of view, and we need to work together in order to help these communities to see how much they can come out of of poverty, or improve their status. It's now sometimes there is a type of communities that they are not helping the country to develop. They are obstacle for countries to develop, or they are becoming like a source of a dumping area or a pollution area. This is frankly because of the weakness of solving the problem itself in a proper way. Because helping these communities itself, sometimes helping them materialistically, I mean, helping them by charity, by zakat, by type of seasonal support, this is actually deepening the problem, not solving the problem. Always I give example, just for last thing, for like this example of poverty, similar to example of widening the roads or increasing the number of lanes on the roads around the world. Does it really, when you, I'm sure you have seen, or you lived in, or you are living in a capital city like Moscow, like New York, like any other country, like Bahrain, Manama, and so on. You see, when they increase the lanes, you think in the first time, after first 2 years, 3 years, oh, now the traffic is much better. But you see, this problem comes back after 5 years, isn't it? Okay. This is because we are trying to solve it from a capital-based approach and a materialistic-based approach. Okay. While you go to countries, you will never see this problem, even though they have only 2 lanes, not 6 lanes or 7 lanes, like we see in Dubai or Moscow or New York and so on. So it is the similar issue. We are deepening the problem by trying to solve the problem instead of finding opportunity inside the problem.
Dr. Mohammed, what was the name of the person that you wanted him to comment on it?
He's Godfred Vika.
Right, okay. I am unmuting you. Yeah, please. Go ahead. Godfred.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, just like what Doctor was saying, it's something that is so real in Ghana here. We have lots of resources, but you go to most communities and then they don't really appreciate the resources. Are very highly valued in Dubai and it's treated as good. But in Africa here, or in Ghana here, especially in the northern part of the country, we have lots of these resources that we use to transform the lives of the community members, but most of them do not really appreciate the education that they are in. No, some of them don't even find the to which it can really change.
Okay, Godfred, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you to write it because we cannot hear 50% of what you're saying. I gave it a chance, but it's not working. So please write it in the chat so that we can read it at least. Aisha, I could see that you raised your hand earlier. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Khawla and Dr. Mohammed, for a very, very, very inspiring session. My name is Aisha from Kenya. And I think for me, when I listen to the inspiring economy talk, I'm thinking about sustainability and wondering how then do whatever you're doing. And for us smaller NGOs, how do we deal with the sustainability problem? Because sometimes, you know, when you start to do all this work, it's very exciting, but along the line, you know, sort of if there's no funding or you have not really met some of the expectation, you find yourself, you know, feeling like, you know, what next? So Dr. Khawla, in previous talks, I have heard you talk especially about your NGO, and I would want to also hear from you, especially now that you're the facilitator for the NGO-MG, how can we benefit, we as NGOs, in this MG, and what are the plans that you have as a co-facilitator? And especially because, you know, we are just about to start voting, or rather to finish voting. What do you think the NGOs, especially the upcoming NGOs, would do to ensure that they are not only dealing with inspiring economy, but dealing with inspiring economy sustainably? What are your plans and your dreams for us as NGOs and as our co-facilitator? Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. As always, you cannot ask a simple question ever. And this is challenging and amazing at the same time. So thank you for that. Dr. Mohammed, maybe you want to answer the first part and then I'll take the second. But if you allow me, I'll take a second question first and then we can combine both. So John Taruba, karaoke.
Yes, good evening. This is John from Kenya.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Do you get me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
we
hear
hear you.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you because the 4 principles you apply in socioeconomic problem-solving approach is what we do in Kenya in our organization. My organization is called I Care School of First Aid, and we work with the vulnerable communities in our organization, and we look into their existing opportunities in those communities. So I believe I want to say thank you very much for bringing this now on board and putting it into a subject that we need to encourage other organizations. Our organization raises a lot of funds from income generating activities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mohamed, if you'd like to respond to John and to Aisha, and then maybe I'll take the second part of Aisha because she directed it to
I like again Dr. Khawla, Aisha's questions and John comment, because this is what been a challenge for us also as an aspiration economy, as an institute, as a project, because now the funds is coming mainly from personal fund. We said we don't want to go for personal fund or waiting for funds from United Nations or EUs and so on. And we believed from the beginning that after 3 years and 4 years from experience, we're supposed to start for all our projects supposed to be on a basis of social for profit. Means that when we invest in a project, it will sustain itself, and it might have even a return to the main society or the main NGO, which is whether the main NGO will be the worldwide NGO or the main NGO in that community. And I think for that, I wanted Godfred to talk about what he's doing with us, and because he's now in advanced stage compared to, for example, Nepal, Mohamed Khurshid, and so on, where he started the project. Now it's like a registered company, and this registered company work for products within the community. Takes the product from the poor or those who are, we need to improve their profit margin. And this I emphasize, because one of the challenges of any community is not to sell or to produce. Now there's lots of poor communities that are producing. They are producing a product or a service, okay? The problem is that, and actually most of the services in more emerging economies is produced by the poor, okay? Whether from rubbish or from taxi or to, you name it, all the services you see is based on the lower class or poor people. But the problem is that their profit margin has been really squeezed. And what we need to improve the profit margin by improving their income and developing what a type of mediators that they are fair. They are working based on fairness and working on delivering the product or service to the right customer. At the same time, improving the and watching that there is an improvement by every production. I mean, annually, they are producing, let's say, 1,000 ton of what is now Godfred is working on shea butter, okay, which is it's abundant material in lots of Africa. I'm sure in Kenya also there is shea butter, and this is a demand from the whole world, because most of cosmetics, you name it, whether it's cream, whether it's any type of cosmetics now, advanced cosmetics, they all use shea butter as a basis for their production, and soap and so on. This material now, if we start to again even innovate and be creative in the way we are selling it, or the way we are producing it, or the way we are utilizing it, okay? For example, I was sending to Godfred in lots of countries now, the shea seeds itself, the shea seeds is used even for health, for drinking, okay? It's like they put it in water and so on. So it's an example of, again, reinventing the product so that we improve the probability for sustainability of these people. These people, they don't want to depend on us. If they are depending on our support, okay, by giving them only machine and so on, that will be, over time, it will go away. But once they start to see that they are producing something that is having a better return, they can feel that they are becoming more independent community. So my answer to you, first of all, number one, sustainability have to be not from getting funds. Sustainability have to be investing in the hidden opportunities within the community. That's number one for the meaning of sustainability. Sustainability means that I measure my capacity versus the demand. How many people that I have really get them out of poverty, or I help them, youth, for example, to minimize their migration. Even if they migrate from the, like in Ghana, people are migrating from north to south. So they are leaving the fertile north, which is having greenery and so on. They are going, for example, to Accra, okay, whereas there is only sea. Okay, but because they believe that they can work, cleaning cars and something, leaving their maybe a large land in the north. So this is an example of what we are trying to tackle: sustainability and sustaining a project by making sure that the partner believe in your project. And for example, and now my story with Godfred, I want to make sure that Godfred believe, even if he graduates, now he's doing his BSc, but even if he does his master or PhD, this is a full-time job for him. What he's doing is a full-time. He doesn't need to look for another job. By making that the product he's working on profitable for him as a person, okay? Because everyone will ask at the end of the day, what's in it for me? Why I'm working on this product? I might not be interested in charity. Okay, not everyone is interested in charity. So the most important is that even our partner believe that this is having a proper ROCE, a return on capital employed, or ROI, return on investment in a direct or indirect way. Yeah, I hope I answered you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mohamed. Aisha, I'll attempt to answer you, drawing from what we've learned today from Dr. Mohamed. So for the last 2 years, I've been the NGO major group facilitator, a co-facilitator, but as you know, I've been taking responsibility as much as I can to reach out to all the NGOs. You are more than 400 NGOs from all over the world, very diverse in everything, in size, in theme, in interest, in style of work, and even the way you see each other and look at one another. It was not an easy job. Of course, everyone look at the output as how many comments, how many participation, how many intervention have the NGO major group given in UN meetings or UNIA's plenary, or in the CPR meetings, or in the written comments. But for me, yes, these are important, with no doubt. But for me, this is what Dr. Mohamed was referring to as the materialistic part of it. What I was focusing on is what Dr. Mohamed have described as increasing or building on or enhancing the capacity, exploring the potential wealth from within. So I have invested time, effort, knowledge, experience, or what I have in trying to invest in the hidden opportunities. I believe that diversity is richness. I believe that even the conflict that we have among NGOs, this is one of our strengths. And when I looked at the physical capacity, and when I look at the natural capacity and the human capacity, I could found, and I did find, huge amount of wealth there. So some NGOs were really good in drafting, and that's all what they want to do. They don't want to be involved in discussions, and they don't want to attend meetings very much, but they want to invest their time in drafting. Other NGOs are very much interested in the dialogue. They don't want to even write a line of sentence. They don't want to provide written comment, but they're very much interested in discussion. Other NGOs are more of, they don't want all of this. They want to do some important work in their small village, in that remote area, and that's all what matters for them, because they understand how important it is for the people. So in the last 2 years, that's what I've been trying to do, to discover actually and explore who is there and what is the potential. And what I tried to do is, instead of giving NGOs, let's say, the food and the money for 1 day or two, as Dr. Mohamed was describing, I tried to lift them up. So many NGOs did not know anything about UNEP processes, how to get involved. Some wanted to get accredited, but they never knew how to get accredited. Others are accredited, but they don't know what it means. And they don't know how to have their voice heard, which is one of the most important aspects of being an NGO. So this is what I've been trying to do, is to provide capacity building as much as possible. Well, these sessions that we're doing now, you're asking me about, yes, I stood for election. So when I'm re-elected, starting March, I will have other 2 years. So until March, I'm still your facilitator. What I will do, what I started to do since December, and I'll continue doing it. I mean, I started to do it systematically, because before we were doing it, but in an ad hoc way, is that we have this series of discussions, series of dialogue. I believe that we need to understand, as Dr. Mohamed was saying, to explore the potential wealth from within. And I think the way we do it is by talking more, by discussing more. So instead of us just meeting, when UNEP is meeting, with UNEA is meeting, when they want a written comment from us, no, we are here. We are the real thing. We are the NGOs of the world. We are the ones working on the ground. So there's nothing stopping us from dialoguing. We don't need someone to set a meeting for us. We don't need someone to set a discussion for us. We can do that. And as you can see, like Dr. Mohamed is a very busy person, really. But when I asked him, and he understood it's for NGOs, he welcomed it, and he's here. And I can see that Dr. Dunya is here as well, and I would like to welcome her as well, and the amazing work they are doing. But he's here. He's giving us his time. He's giving us for free the conclusion of all the work that he has been doing for the last almost 30 years. I think there are opportunities. There are ways for us to, as I started this session, for us to learn about what makes us stronger, what makes us able to fulfill our dreams and our mission in life, and at the same time to discover new ones, and at the same time to understand ourselves from within. Because as much as we want our NGO to achieve its goals, it's really good to see other possibilities. Maybe we are thinking that goal A is the ultimate goal. Well, it's not. There are other things, there are other options, there are other ways to achieve what we really want to achieve, and not necessarily what we have drafted to be the ultimate goal. And then for us to work together, which is one of the most challenging missions on earth. Good NGOs are not always able to work with one another, which could come as a surprise for many entities. But being an NGO and coming from the field, I can confirm it. We think that NGOs are alike. We're not alike, even if we're working in the same field of sustainability. And last but not least, Aisha, you've asked me what are my plans. So the first thing is to keep this dialogue happening. So if I am with you I am with you, actually. I am with you forever. Whether I win the election or not doesn't matter. The election means a facilitator to facilitate the work. But we are together, we found each other, we should not lose each other. We're NGOs from different continents that we never knew that we exist. We coexist, actually. So we'll keep the discussion, the dialogue going on. And the other thing is, whatever we discover, whatever we agree on, we need to take it back to UNEP. UNEP need to listen and hear from us what we think, what we consider more important. Yes, they have priorities, but I'm sure they'll be very happy to understand and to explore what are the real priorities coming from NGOs and maybe different types of NGOs that they've never heard from before. So simply, Aisha, this is my plan, and I hope that I answer your question. I don't see many hands, but I could see many many statements in the chat. Could you please use the hand raised so that we know that you want something to share with us? I read from iPhone. I don't know who is iPhone, but please raise your hand, Laura. Okay, Laura, please. The floor is yours.
Hi, yeah, my name is Laura. I'm a professional ecologist from Colombia, and I represent the National School of Ecologists here in our country. We are just new in this accreditation process, and it's very important for us to be part of these discussion sessions. We've been learning a lot of how can we move forward in our profession as ecologists and environmentalists in our country. We've been learning a lot, and I want to thank you for all these opportunities. I would like to say that we are still trying to figure out how we move forward from these volunteering programs and environmentalist projects that we have to promote this as a type of economy that we need to create a bigger impact in our country. So thank you so much for this information. And we hope to be part of these discussions, upcoming sessions.
Thank you, Laura. And Laura, please, we know that we must have your contact. That's how we invited you. But kindly send me a direct message. If you are newly accredited, I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to orient you. I'm very much easily accessible. So please get my number, and maybe Pedro or Moza can send you my number directly. And get in touch, please. I'll take two more questions, Dr. Mohammed, and then you can respond to them. So Anna Dill, the floor is yours, Anna Dill.
We cannot hear you.
Please unmute your mic, Anadil. You are already allowed. Great.
Yeah, is it clear? Can you hear me now?
Yes, great.
Okay, this is not Anadil. Basically, I'm using the computer of Anadil. This is Mohammed Shafiq, yeah? Mohammed Shafiq. I am representing WWT, West Pak Welfare Trust. We are based in Pakistan. And first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me and being here with you in such a valuable and such an important event. So right now, I would just ask you to just focus on your elections. Elections are so important because, and I wish you best of luck as well, Miss Dr. Khawla. And about the event, Dr. Mohammed has, expressed, so nicely, and particularly because I'm running apart from the NGO, basically business side as well, and we specify a portion of the business revenue or the earning towards our charitable purposes for the welfare of the society and the community. We work on environment, so we've been working since 2009. So we, went district to district, set up like outdoor camps and awareness campaigns, and we participate. It had been our, routine activity. Though I am not, my organization is not accredited with UNEP, but we are having accreditation with ECOSOC. We are having a special consultative status with them. So putting in efforts, but right now, we are looking towards your, ongoing elections. So once election would be over, result would be declared, then we would come in contact with you so that to put in our efforts, to play our part well with your guidance and assistance. So the event is marvelous, so nice. The way Dr. Mohammed has expressed, and he has really, his expression touched my feeling, my very feeling, which I'm of the view that business should be very much focused, and the portion of that earning should be specified for charitable purposes. That is why. And I congratulate, I appreciate you, Dr. Khawla, to conduct such a marvelous event. And another thing I would like to quote here, that we are having a program like that is an event with the United Nations, and that is going to take place on 10th of February. So I would share the link with you, and I would ask you to spread it among your connections and the organization that are associated with you. Thank you.
With your permission, I've changed your name so we don't use the other name. And Mohamed Shafiq, please get my contact again if you don't have it, so that I can invite you to the other events that UNEP is doing. We're having quite a few events from now till end of February. And I think it's important that you all and we all participate in it. And with all pleasure, please use the chat to tell us all about the upcoming events for your organization, for your network, and certainly for UN. And I will add you guys, like all the NGOs who are here, please share your numbers with me in private, and I will add you to the NGO group list, so you will be able to communicate with many other NGOs. Most of them are accredited. If you're not accredited, it doesn't matter. I will help you if you want to get accredited, but if you don't want to get accredited, that's fine. We're all NGOs and we should work together. Accreditation is a prerequisite for few things, but not for everything. There was a hand raised. I'll try to remember the name. Yeah, it was Prince. Prince. Can unmute Prince, please? And then Dr. Mohammed can respond to all of that.
Yeah, good evening.
Prince, we cannot hear
Hello,
you.
good evening. Yes, can I say something now?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Go ahead, Prince. Oh.
Yes, I'm Prince Dan Mbachi. I'm from Nigeria. I'm the President, Africa Global Development for Policy Initiative, ADI Africa. We are working on environmental issues in terms of recycling plant, recycling waste to wealth here in Nigeria and the other parts. So the doctor, in fact, I appreciate Dr. Khawla for her courage for calling on this meeting today. And this is the work she has been doing, not today. This is her hobby, and we sincerely appreciate all her activities and events she has been organizing. That is why I'm one of them that urging her to continue to do the good work because she has been doing it, and we also need to come up and give her the maximum support, so that because what we are talking about is continuity, somebody that will do the job, not a stranger that cannot do enough to promote the good work in terms of NGOs that will give us a very good link to UNEP. So I'm also very happy hearing from Dr. Mohammed. He has encouraged me more to work more because the most important thing we are working here is sustainability. Because without sustainability, I don't think that even though they give you all the money all the money to do the job. Without it, we have not done anything. So I also am using this opportunity to seek for partnership for our activities so that we can, because since we are working with the grassroots, we need partners that can support our good work we are doing. So that's what I really want to say at this point. And before closing my speech, I want once again to urge this member of this event today to give Dr. Khawla maximum support to carry out the good work she has been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, friends, for the kind word. Thank you, really. Dr. Mohamed may respond to Prince and all the previous comments as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Khawla, if I may, يعني engaging different NGOs, it's been, as you said, a challenge, and it will continue to be a challenge. But from my experience, and I think your experience much more than my experience in time of getting engaged with the international organization. But from my experience, I believe that the more we make NGOs, they work on the field on a specific problem, the more we can solve really this challenges of working together and getting involved together. So I believe that this is maybe one of the ways to overcome NGOs challenges when they can't communicate properly. They take a specific problem, they work together, and they will discover each other's strengths. Now, for a brother from Pakistan and a sister from Colombia, I really welcome that we work first in academic side, or the Colombia side, and also from brother Pakistan. I believe that the more we manage to spread the social for-profit concept in all the charity work in countries like Pakistan, I'm sure we can bring lots of sustainable civic, civic societies or civic organization. Because one of the challenges of charity is being very relevant, very related to politics. If politics is okay, then charity will be okay. If politics is not, and the country goes into war with a specific party, then charity will be, the people who's getting the charity will be affected. And I think the lesson should be learned specifically in countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and these countries, Bangladesh, and so on. You can see that charity is very relevant to the socio-political side. And for that, I believe that the best way, especially now, we should learn a lot about self-sufficiency and what happened during the COVID. We need to bring lots of self-sufficiency techniques. And by the way, there are really poor development in self-sufficiency and all over the world. I mean, now, if you measure lots of communities' capability of being self-sufficient, I'm talking about now, for example, countries like Gulf countries. I don't think they are self-sufficient in 5%. And in case there is no international airlines, everything is stopped and get into halt, like in the beginning of the COVID time, then lots of countries will be suffering from even availability of main items, not luxury items, also even main items. So I believe that the more we work on the concept of self-sufficiency in small communities and making them strong enough to deliver to the world what they need from main materials, the better we can, bring sustainable community companies or community organizations and so
on. Thank you, Dr. Mohamed. Pedro, you were saying someone was raising his hand as well. I'm not sure why people raise their hand and then it disappears. So, Pedro, please call upon the person.
That one was in the video. Is Mr. Medani? I'm muting your mic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to hear you all. And I think I should introduce a little bit because I know Khawla because I was in Bahrain for 3 years at Arabian Gulf University as a professor. And I try to talk to you. Actually, we talk a couple of times in phone, but we never get a chance to see each other. Regarding UNEP, actually, I am there since 1992, so I'm not new in the UN system. But I'm really glad that the NGO people gather together, and I should say that where I am involved, I represent Atlantic State Legal Foundation that is based in New York, and also I have a organization in UK in Glasgow, the Women Survival Foundation, and I am also involved with a couple of other NGOs in Europe, and also in Ukraine, 2 NGOs in Ukraine, and also in one in Kenya. So I have a little bit broader side in the NGO involvement, because we were activating that how the civil society organization can be involved with the UN process, how civil society can involve in the GEF process and World Bank process. So yeah, I know this nitty-gritty how it is going. But my focus is slightly different at present. Khawla knows what I am doing, because at least she wrote that. I'm glad that the book is out. So I will show you a couple of stuff, what exactly I'm doing. I teach in 3 universities, the one in Hawaii and one in Ukraine and one in Poland. So now I'm no more in Arabian Gulf University, but still my heart is there, because I involve in many stuff there in GCC country. So I should say, okay, I'm still there in GCC as well as in the other country. So yeah, when I saw these you guys there, then I feel okay, this is my home, I'm there. So yeah, that's that. So I will show you what exactly I'm doing. So I have like maybe 10 or 11 books, but the most recent I will show you. It's all environment, all sustainable development. We say we were working on sustainable development goal. All 17 goals are in highlight, and it is not with the NGO, but it is with the UNEP. So we are writing. We already produced the 1 volume. So we are producing 17 volume like this, on how the goals can be met and each target how we can address. So like this. So this is one involvement how I am engaged with the UN. And then also civil society. So we are trying to bring all the civil society in the world who are accredited or not accredited, but the focus is the connection with the IUCN, because IUCN is one of the oldest conservation organization in the world. I think everybody knows that. So we are also working on NGOs. So this is an NGO, another NGO's book we recently published. And then also we feel that without education we cannot do anything. So we have also education project. So the transforming through the education, this is another book I just published. And then there is another one I just published. This is also another one. So I'm just talking about 2020. It's not more than that. It's just 2020. Before that, it's so many. So I will just show what came in 2020. And then this one, Khawla wrote a little bit. Yeah, I think you remember that, inequality in the global sense. So we have addressed a lot of what is inequality in GCC. So 2 more books are coming about the inequality in the world. So this time we don't have any chapter from the GCC country, but in next volume, I hope somebody will write from GCC country as well. And then this is another one which address the sustainable development in the world, how the sustainability is going on, whether it is right. And I saw a friend from Pakistan. Listen, friend from Pakistan. This book is about Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So I work in Pakistan also. Mostly I base in the Karachi, but a little bit more in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. So whenever you talk there, talk with the IUCN people, and you'll understand what I am talking, that one. This one is the latest one, and then most important one. This is the IPCC. Everybody know what is IPCC. And then, so this is a climate change, core climate change book. So it has a history of the climate science, and then also history of the global non-governmental organization, how non-governmental organization can contribute to change the global scenario. So this is about that one. In addition to that, I also do poems, but this is in Nepali. I am originally from Nepal, but I am here in USA in Virginia. And one thing I have to mention, that's very, very striking thing. I wanted to talk with Khawla, but Khawla, you are doing very good job. No need to say that do any campaign, nothing. We don't need that. You are doing great job, and then great job always makes great output. So in that sense, no worry, you are there, and we all are with you. So that's not a question. This is not a campaign. We don't need a campaign. For the best person who is good, the good shows by the deeds. And you have deeds. So no need to worry on that part. Just forget that. That's not a question. That's not the issue. I saw that so many email discussion and blah, 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 blah. That is not necessary. That's not necessary. Whenever we want to change the world, if it is from the bottom of the heart, then we can change the world. It's not that we need to say, no, it's not needed. We all are the same and we represent the world. It's not that now I see how many, we are 29 right now, but each of us, all the participants who we are here, we are like a one. We need to think on that way. And main thing what we need in the world is, most important thing is we need to generate love. We need to generate relationship. That makes the difference. Other stuff, because you see, in the COVID time, I wrote 50 papers. Since February 2020 to now, I wrote more than 50 papers. And every paper, the main purpose of these all papers, this all book is to generate the love, generate the unity, generate bring out the feeling, What we need is to actually advocate for the love and respect each other, encourage each other. So that is what exactly we need. And basically in GCC, we know that what is their situation, what is the differences, how are the inequality situation is there. I know that because I lived there at least for 3 years as a professor, and I have students from all the country, and I know what is going on there. But the change, we can see the change. The change is going on there. For example, Saudi Arabia, it changed a lot. We could not even imagine what is going on there. That means it is the process. It's a slow process, but it is a process and we are getting there. So I'm always with you guys. We should feel that we are not alone in any case. We are all united, all together, but what we need is the light. What we need is the build the relation, and that build relation need to go to the ground level. Until or unless we change the floor, until or unless we have a good foundation, we cannot do anything. In sustainable development, I have a doubt. If you have read my paper, you can see that sustainable development is not the remedy for all anxiety. That's not. That is just one frame of the society. But what is going on in the world is that everything, whatever is there, all problem can be solved through the sustainable. No, that's not true. It is just one principle of the development. It's not all principle of the development. So we should actually need alternatives, need to think on a different way, and then also our intake. We should not forget the root. How UNEP was established? Who was the initiator to establish the UNEP? NGO, IUCN, the Flora and Fauna International. If you see that, how the UNEP was formatted, you'll know that because the foundation of UNEP is NGO. They founded, they thought that, okay, we need that. And then the people who are working in the UNEP, for example, Achim Steiner was with the IUCN, and then current lady is just moved from IUCN to UNEP. So you see that they should actually understand that. I fight with them all the time, and I never miss any meeting, at least on another level as a think tank person. So my perspective is very clear. My product is just love, just respect, and just encouragement. So whatever we have been doing, great job, but we really need to think very deeply, very deeply, very deeply that how, as a human being, we can unite, how this deplemented, this stratified society can be unite, and how actually we can make a significant change. So that should be our mission. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. You've touched everyone's soul, honestly. Like there was a message in the chat from the manager, the technical manager, and this is his job, to say that you got 30 seconds and you have to wrap up. And I just wrote, no, we want to listen to him. Please let him finish. And then other people commented on me and said, yes, we want to listen to him. So you've touched our hearts, you've touched our souls in what you said. And I'll just take one of what you said, one message, and that is love. That's what I believe in, Professor. I've been asked, now we see the map that Pedro kindly have drawn for us. So guys, this is who we are. If you look at the map, it is about the participant today. You see 30 participants, but no, we're not 30. There are about 50 participants, but some had to leave and others came back or just joined us. So we are really from almost all the continent except Australia. We're all from all over the world. So love is the word. And Professor Madani, yes, you're absolutely right. I started my NGO 20 years ago, and I'm sure you're aware of this when you were in Bahrain. And I kept it going with almost no fund. No one get paid for anything. Actually, if you volunteer in my NGO, you have to pay so many things. You have to pay from your time, your effort, and sometimes we even fight in the NGO. Sometimes you'll get upset and you'll get hurt because of things that happen, and it happened between us, me and the founders of the NGO itself. But the NGO kept going on. We continued, and I'm always asked this question is, what kept you going? Why are you still there? How can you do voluntary work for all these years with all the sad stories? Because, you know, this is environment. So if you win one fight, you have lost 100 to just win one. And if you win anything, like if you manage to protect coral reef or protect a species, it takes lots to put, and patience and sacrifices. And so I've been asked repeatedly what kept you going, and many times, to be honest, I don't know the answer. But when I asked myself, the answer was love and passion. That's what I have for it. I mean, Prince, when Prince was talking, he said she's always doing these sessions because it's her hobby. and I laughed because, yeah, he's right. I didn't think of it this way, but it's true. It's about love and it's about passion. And I agree with you that I should not campaign, and I have not campaigned, as you know. I'm glad that you said that I don't need campaigning, so that my supporters hear you as well. And they understand when I said that I don't want to send messages for people asking them to vote for me. I don't feel that I can do such a thing. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So I just wanted to comment on this before I ask Dr. Mohamed to comment on the questions and different views that has been shared. Dr. Mohamed, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Khawla and Prof. Madani. Really, I'm impressed by your amount of productivity. I thought I am producing so much, but when I've seen your productivity in papers, I really appreciate that, and I already have put a chat with you so that we can continue to correspond. Dr. Khawla, I don't have a comment, but I would like Dr. Nikolai given the floor. He's from Moscow, and he's actually, I consider him one of our experts in inspiration economy. Maybe he can comment a bit, and then if we can have Dr. Ali Ibrahim after him from Sudan, if I may, and if you have time.
Sure, pleasure. Pedro, please.
Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you, Mohammed, and well, thank you for having me here. Well, I'm sorry that I couldn't join the previous sessions. Maybe then I could be more in the topic because I don't that much experience in this kind of work. But I'm, as a teacher, as a professor, I think that we do pretty much a lot of inspirational work. And also, I have lots of thoughts, and maybe I'll try to do this because try to sum up them. So, Dr. Mohammed was saying that there is a lot of problem that we can face, and I can say that here in Russia, it's a big country. Well, I mean the size, and there is a lot of problems come from this size, because sometimes when people concentrate in the big cities, and actually people still going there, they still have a dream to come there, because sometimes in the faraway places people don't have much opportunities. And the thing is that right now, especially with the digitalization and this opportunity to see the world, to see this opportunity and actually don't have them in the place, that's the big problem, because it's hard to be inspired there because you don't have this much opportunity. And the thing is that the most business part, they're looking for the fast return of investment, so they're not investing money there. So that's, I think, NGOs could help people to be inspired and find this source for self-development in these people. So we need to inspire people to become their self-employers, I don't know, to develop their opportunities to grow, not to go to the big cities and increase the pollution and increase the violence, or being lazy and just corrupt themselves with different kind of addictions. So we all working on the same floor, and I think that this is the right time for us to do this, because we need to educate and actually teach the whole new generation who's going to set these principles of inspiration economy as their new normal, because it's so hard to change the mindset, but we can help to build the right one. So that's just the perfect job anyone could do with this, and we do this. So thank you all for your great job, and thank you for inspiring me with a lot of new feelings and thoughts that I can share with my students. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was really nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
I think this is the first time that we see you. So please share your WhatsApp number on private with Khawla, so that we can add you to our other groups, and we can invite you for more events. The discussion sessions, as I said at the beginning, or the dialogue, we started it in December. Actually, I've chosen a very beautiful date in December. People who know me, they know how much impressed I am with beautiful dates. So I've chosen 12, 12, 20 and 20, 12, 20. And I made two important events for dialogue, NGOs dialogue. And since then, we did not stop. So we've been running one global dialogue after the other, especially that we found it so enriching. We thought at the beginning, being an Arabic NGO and being very successful in running weekly global environmental sessions, that this is how it's going to be. But when we tried the global sessions, the global dialogues, the global discussions, there is huge enrichment. I think it is exactly the difference and the diversity in culture, in ways of thinking, in advancement. So I could be advanced in one way, but you will be advanced in another way. I think these differences, this diversity in particular, is what made the discussions and the dialogue so rich. So people come and just say something about what they are actually doing. It's not about something they read in a book or research. It's not a scientific paper at all. It is just, as Dr. Mohamed was saying at the beginning, a life model. And just by listening to parts of the life models of different NGOs, different activists, different researchers, different amazing people from different places on this globe, it got us inspired. It got us to be better human beings. I just want to share something with you all, and I think this is inspired by the message of love that Professor Medani have shared with us, and the notion of richness as opposed to rarity that Professor Mohamed was talking about. So we're not competing, we're working together. I just want to share one story with you. In the year 2007, it was, I was chosen to join international efforts in a working team to produce the ISO 26000 for social responsibility. And for those of you who don't know that standard, it's different than all the ISO standard. So this standard is not about certification. No one is going to give you a certificate and call you a socially responsible. There's no such a thing really from ISO, although some private companies have done it, but really it's not about that. Social responsibility, the ISO standards, ISO 26000 for social responsibility, is about what you do from within so that you understand yourself better, so that you improve from within, so that you develop your processes, your products, your impact, your output that is impacting the society, the environment, other humans, other beings. You change them, you change the way you're living. And the ISO 26000 for social responsibility is nothing but guidance that can help you to do that process. So it's about you. It's about all this change that you decide to undergo, to undertake, but then you decide to understand. And then you do it in your own base. You do it in your own time. You choose how you want to start and then how you grow. But there are certain things that you cannot choose and pick in between, because it's not about reporting. You're not going to write a report and someone is going to read this report and say, goodbye, you've done a good job. It's not about that. It's about how you develop and improve from inside, from within. So for instance, if you're running a company and there are people inside your company who are from a different culture or from a different way of thinking that is very much conflicting with the whole society, are you ready to tolerate these people? Not just tolerate, but respect and even love. Well, the social responsibility does not say love, but respect. And then allow them to live their life, for instance, to worship, even though that this religion is not your religion, even though that the outer society is telling you, no, there is no such a religion. Those people are terrorists, those people are whatever. But you know it very well inside you that as a human being, if you were in their position, you want to be treated fairly. You want people to look at you as a human being who has the complete right to practice her or his religion, to dress up the way she or he wants. This is just a simple example. And of course, there is the bigger example. If you're running a factory and you know that the gas emission or the ambient, the water, the solid or this is going into the sea, the river, the ground, and you know that it has pollutants. Are you ready to admit this? Are you ready, even if the government did not know about this, even if you're not going to be in trouble with law, are you willing to stop that pollution? Because you know that if you continue what you're doing, you're harming the environment, you're harming people, you're harming health. So the social responsibility, the ISO 26000 for social responsibility is really not about how people judge you, although it's used for this now. But originally it was not about that. It was about how you can change from within so that you become a better human being, a better organization. And it doesn't matter if you're small or big. It doesn't matter if you're from a developed country or developing country. And it doesn't matter at all if you're government or an NGO. Because even if you're an NGO, you're not an angel. Even if you're an NGO, you might be practicing many bad things, many wrong things. Are you willing to change from within? Are you willing to look at yourself and be a better human the next day? I just mentioned the story because I wanted to share that with you. I believe that me working in that work for actually more than 13 years now, have taught me one thing, and that is to look at other people with absolutely unjudgmental way. We've all have been growing up with prejudice, whether we admit it or not. All of us are prejudiced, one way or another. If you look at the jokes, at the songs, the way we judge things, the way we accept or reject things, there is a sense of prejudice with different degree. We need to remember that we don't like to be judged by others, and we have been misjudged a lot in our life. It's really amazing if we can work together, trying, as Professor Mohamed was saying, trying to discover the intrinsic value, the intrinsic potential of how we can work together. When he talked about the natural capacity and the physical capacity and things that are there with us, there is nothing called poor. There is nothing called I have nothing. We always have something, and others always have something. But it's a matter of discovering it. Dr. Mohamed was saying, once NGOs work together, then to solve a problem, then this is the time when they can see and appreciate each other's strength. And I agree with this. That's how we knew each other. But we need to do that more, and we need to appreciate one another. It's very easy many times in a stressful, challenging life to misjudge one another and to even hurt one another. But if we're able to come out of this with a better strategy and better plan for the future, then I think this is what we should do. So with that, Pedro was telling me, Dr. Mohamed, that he did not know who is the other person that you mentioned that you wanted to listen to. So if you can tell us who is that person, so that after that we can conclude. Dr. Mohamed, is he muted? Yes, Dr. Mohamed is muted. You can unmute yourself, please.
Are we concluding? Sorry, I gone just for a while
Yes.
and come back.
I wanted to know who is the person that you wanted us to unmute. You said, I think, Ali Ibrahim, but we cannot find this name. Right. Does anyone want to take the floor? I don't see any hand raised, but Pedro, do you see anybody else in the chat or in the video?
Not. If I'm allowed to make a comment, I'm here at the IT support, but I'm also economist. And for me, the presentation was really amazing. And something I heard one time that I feel really aligned is that the natural resources are finite, but the human creativity and compassion are not. So this is just an inspirational quote for the end, but I really appreciate the presentation, really inspiring.
Pedro, you are an NGO as well, and the first time I met you was in UNIA 4 in Nairobi, and you were such an inspiring person because you worked for long hours and you used your special skills in admin and organization in order to, one of the things that you have achieved really, we worked together in it, but it was your idea, is to put together all the regional statements. So this is one thing that we do in UNEP. All the regions will have statements about what they consider the most important things coming from like Europe, West Asia, Africa, North America, Latin America, Asia. But then if we want to put all these statements together and come out with a global statement that hopefully is representing every single NGO in this globe, that's a very challenging job, not just because it's difficult to have everyone agreeing, but how can we provide a draft of the proposed global statement? So Pedro have helped in that in a systematic way. And I was at that time the co-chair of the Major Group Facilitating Committee, in addition of being the NGO facilitator. And I called upon, this is what Dr. Mohamed was saying, I called upon different NGOs that I thought were strong in drafting, or were specialized in chemical, or specialized in plastic, or specialized in politics, and divided the main blocks of the statements from all the different regions so that we can come out with a draft for a global statement. And we succeeded at the end. I think it took us a week or less than a week, but we did it. And it was an amazing job, not just because we had a global statement, but because almost everybody have contributed in that work. And I think why did this happen is because we talked, we discussed, we dialogued, and then we had a systematic approach. And there was almost every single strong NGO that was present in Nairobi, in UNEP headquarters at that time, have contributed in that statement. And I remember that I was talking with NGOs that I met for the first time, like you, yourself, Pedro. And then I was asking people, like assigning them jobs. Could you do that overnight? Could you do that in 2 hours? I think you're so good in that. Can you finish it before the session, the next session? And for my amazement, for my amusement, and for my actually astonishment, people have welcomed it. So coming from the statement of Dr. Mohamed about sitting together and solving a problem, usually will get us working together and appreciating one another. And I think it happened in Nairobi, in that cafeteria that we spent most of the free time in, when we were conspiring against everything that was against us, so that we can get our voice heard. So yes, Pedro, thank you for your comment. And you're not just an economist, you're an amazing NGO. Dr. Mohamed, let us know when you are ready for conclusion. Pedro, you might unmute Dr. Mohamed.
Okay, Dr. Khawla, thank you very much again for first introducing us for all this, let's say, leading group in the different regions. It's really exciting to talk to all of you, and I hope that we work with all of you, and specifically I learned from a lot from Dr. Prof. Madani and his great work. I'm sure that, as Dr. Madani said, if we start to do lots of groundwork together, we will overcome lots of miscommunication. Any organization in the world, whether it's a family, whether it's a community, whether it's an organization, whether it's a country, it works on two principles. This is what we believe in inspiration economy. It has to be healthy and profitable. And I believe that in order to be healthy, we have to get engaged with each other. Not necessarily to be similar to each other, but we need to get engaged with each other. And the best engagement is really to be working together in the field. This is where the real primary data supposed to be making us feel the same waves, the alpha wave, the beta waves, and whatever. The second thing, as I said, is have to be profitable. And what we mean profitable, especially for NGO and for government and even for private sector, by the way, is that it is focused on to be value added. I mean, value added means that it will be focused on not bringing return on investment only, but return on capital employed. Lots of us believe that, okay, we don't have a clear investment. No, you are having investment. Your time is investment. But these, we call them in economy and finance, we call them capitals employed. And I believe that if we start to really work on this principle to be first healthy and profitable, means healthy means that we don't do the same work that we've been doing in the last 20 years. I know that NGOs, some of you mentioned that you've been there for 20, 30 years, whatever. It doesn't matter the time, by the way, my friends. What matters is not the time, because you might have the similar routine experience that you've been having for the first year. What matters for your maturity today is how much capacity you are managing to improve for yourself and for your community. Okay, we notice, for example, there is sometime a new startups. I'm talking about now just economic based, organization, economic driven, profitable organization. They come for 1 year and then they might manage to change the whole world. I mean, like Zoom now today, for example, that we are using today. Just in the last 2 years, been there for 5 years, okay. But in the last 2 years, it managed to change most of lots of people's lives, even those they never use the computer. This is an example of a startup that is now working on the principle of healthy and profitable. Maybe they are profit-oriented more than most of us, but still in the end of the day, the return on capital employed is making them also now more reputable among lots of investors and so on. So I believe if we start to work together on the field, as again going to the same principle that Prof. Madani talked about, Khawla talked about, I think Nikolai mentioned about, Godefred, if we give him the floor, he would have talked about, starting from the poorest people, the weakest people in our communities, and starting to see how much we influence them in day-to-day life. Okay, getting people involved, youth people like again Godefred, my friend Godefred in Ghana, getting them involved and letting them see how much they can influence their community by just changing the mindset from different perspective. I'm sure we can deliver a better message, and I believe that we should continue the dialogue based on stories achieved or stories failed. Today I talked to you about success stories, but I would claim that out of each 50 attempts we are making, let's say 5 now. Maybe now we are better hit rates. We claim that 5 success stories out of 50 attempts. It means 10% our achievement. We used to have 1% our achievement because we're totally going against the whole world, which depend on large organization, large funds that's coming from large governments or large NGOs to support governments projects that we are doing on the field. So I wish you all the success, inshallah, and I believe that having such dialogues again, sharing it, will help us all to develop further, inshallah, in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for what you shared with us. And thank you, everybody who have shared their views. And I'll just take the last word that Dr. Mohammed said, sharing our stories, our success stories, and continuing this dialogue. So the Environment Friends Society, EFS Bahrain, would like to thank you all for being with us, and we will invite you for more dialogues and more discussions and more stories from working on the ground. Please feel free to contact us and suggest topics for us for the coming dialogues. And Dr. Mohammed, Professor Madani, I'm sure that we will host you in future dialogues, and I just hope that your time and your patience and your generosity will just continue with us so that we can all together reach to a better place. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Professor. Thank you, Dr. Mohamed Buheji, very much, and have a good night. Enjoy January. It's the first month of the year, and there is a beautiful year coming ahead of us. I am having the feeling and the belief that it's going to be an amazing year for all of us. So for all of you, best wishes, and smile and enjoy what's coming. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Pedro, you can open everyone's microphone. So for
Everyone
1 minute.
can already
Say
unmute
good.
themselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Alaikum.
Okay, it was, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Khawla, for endless
Good night,
efforts.
everyone. Thanks for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all this.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's be in touch, so, yeah.
Namaste, sir Madani.
Namaste.
Bhandari. Namaste, namaste. Ma Sunsari Narwabata.
How are you?
ए ल ल म एपेक्स चलाउँ थिएँ त्यहाँ सुनसरीमै त थिएँ
कस्तो छ सबै ठिकै छ
ठिक छ
Thank you.
ल
तपाई विराटनगरबाट
Francophone, merci à tout le monde.
हजुर
हैन अहिले त म युएसए मा छु
भर्जिनिया धेरै खुसी लाग्यो ल
Good night.
Dr. Khawla.
Bye.